Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to In Between. I am your host, Grace Kipasa. We are at season 3, and this time I wanted to bring it in my home. I am here with wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people that individually they mean a lot to me. I will let them introduce themselves to you guys later. But because I am at home, I have one of the best catering in DFW here who is serving us and my guest, Annie's Catering. She made us some amazing drinks that we're gonna have before I introduce everybody. We're gonna clear our throats a little bit. Thank you, Mama Annie. Not only, she will also be a vendor in one of our events that is coming up. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, Annie's Catering. She tells me that she brings the next level of professionalism. Thank you so much, Annie. Thank you so much for being here with us. Like I said, check her out on Instagram, Facebook. Welcome to my season 3. I am here with wonderful, wonderful women who mean so much to me, personally have impacted me in my life. And this show is entitled More Than a Pastor's Wife. So that kind of lets you know what we're going to get into today. But like I told you guys, I don't like introducing people. I prefer to do their own introduction. We're going to start first from my right and make all the way to the left over there. Mama, if you guys can introduce yourself.
Hello, Grace. Hello, everybody. My name is Sandrine Mulumba, First Lady at Joshua Generation Church with Pastor Jean-Marc Mulumba here in Dallas, Texas.
Hi, Mama Sandrine.
Hello. Hey. Hello, everyone. Hi, Grace. I'm Naike Kasongo. I'm First Lady at Revive City Church. Husband name is Pastor Patrick Kasongo. Excited to be here.
I am excited to have you guys. Let's go.
Ok. Je suis Régine Adou. Je suis l'épouse du pasteur Landry Adou, pasteur associé à la Génération des Vainqueurs Ministry Church, ici à Dallas.
Hi, Maman Régine.
Hi.
They usually say last but not least.
Last but not least.
Eliane Tano, Overcomer Ministry. I'm the First Lady. I'm the wife of Apostle Guy Joseph Tano, JVMC also called before.
Yes.
Thank you, Grace, for having me.
No, thank you guys for being here today. Like I told you guys that we've spoken before, that when I was thinking about having this show, this is one of the most heartfelt for me because I've been around in church for a very long time. Actually, there's when I gave my life to Christ, I was 18 and then I bounced back. But when I was bouncing back, Pastor Nike, who's here, she was the one that kind of hooked me while I was trying to still figure out to bring me back into the Lord. And I always admire your patience, Pastor Nike. I admire the time that you took personally driving from Keller, if a lot of people who don't know that, it's like 45 minutes from where I was, to come to me, to pray with me, to make sure you bring me back to Christ. I truly appreciate that. And thank you for leading me onto the way. Like I said, each and every one of you impacted my life. And as I was led to the way, I also had Mama Gina, who was there with me on both sides of the world. On both sides of the world. When I was trying to figure myself out still, where I stand, as she was there with me, advice, she helped me grow, helped me mature in so many ways. Like I said, they invested in so many parts of my life. And then, of course, I was thrown to my mère spirituelle, who is the wife of my spiritual father. Whew, yes, it's been a long road of her, on my case, just caring, very, very caring, very, very caring so many ways. Of course, Maman Sandrine, who's such an inspiration. Every time I watch her, the elegance, the way you carry yourself. Like I said, you guys mean so much to me. That's why I wanted you guys to communicate something to all of them also who's watching. But this show, we're going to have it bouncing back from 2 different languages. You guys know how we do. Peut-être je vais parler en français. Maybe I will speak in English. Y'all get used to it, right? So I do have a question for you guys, and I'm going to start first with Maman Sandrine. Maman Sandrine, being a pastor's wife, God. What does that take just to be a pastor's wife? were you sitting down as a little girl, gosh, I'm going to get married to a pastor one day? Was that what you had in your mind?
Not at all, not
Okay.
at all. I had different plan actually. You know, I planned to go to school. I planned to go all the way to a PhD. You know, but then, you know, I had my own journey, my personal journey with Christ. And when I finally gave my life fully to Christ, that's when I understood that I also had a calling. You know, and that's the reason why I choose to marry a pastor. You know, even though, you know, it happened that they think that the pastor chose me, but I chose him too because of the calling. You know, because
you had to say yes to it too.
Exactly, exactly. Because I believe that you need to be a servant first. You know, you need to love serving people. Because if you don't, it's just gonna be a nightmare.
Really?
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's good, but it's not easy.
It's not easy. Well, Milian, it's not easy. You have to be able to serve people.
Indeed, you do.
Have to have a heart of a servant.
You have to have a heart of a servant. And I will just add to what she's saying is you have to love. Because if you don't love, there's no way for you to become a pastor wife. You have to be a mother. And on top of that, you have to be somebody that cares. No matter what's going on, you have to be there. You have to be involved into people's life. And it's really important. So as a mother, what do you do for your children? You love them. But now, you're no longer a mother for your children only. You become
biological children.
For your biological children. But you become a mother for an entire community. So a mother, what does she do? She doesn't pick and choose. She loves regardless of who the person is.
But it has to be heavy, right, Pastor Nike? It has to be loving Ethan and Elijah, which are your wonderful twins and your baby. It comes naturally. But then you have people like us who come with a lot of baggages. We just come. We are there. Some of us come from broken homes. Some of us come from different education. Some of us come fatherless. Some of us never had a mother. And then God says, here she is. Here's a child. How do you make the switch? How do you not compare?
I don't think you have to compare or make the switch per se. I think it comes from a place of love. And I think for me, I'll say it comes first with your love for God. Yeah, because if you really love God, then what concerns him concerns you. So when I see someone who might have a different background than I have, I'm not thinking about judging or switching or whatever. I'm looking at that person through God's eyes. You know? And, you know, all of us have some backgrounds. You know, I don't know, all of us, Jesus died for all of us.
Exactly.
So I always remember where I come from. So if the problem we forget sometimes where we come from. But if you remember where God took you out of, there's no way you're gonna embrace everyone who comes towards you.
So there has to be a certain type of compassion, right?
Which is love, like my mom said.
It comes with that. So whenever you add compassion, right, Mama Gina, you add compassion, you add love, and you have to deal with your own children at home, and then come home and deal with the children that God gave you. Isn't that too much for one woman to to do? Because some churches, for example, Mama Sandrine, or in your church, or Yashina, in the church that we go to, you have twins too, actually. By the way, you have twins, a girl and a boy, and a little girl. And Anna and the kids are yelling at home, and then you come home. Here comes Grace with her problems. Like, I need to talk to you and explain to you what's going on. How do you have even time to deal with kids? Like, how do you do it?
The thing is that having the love of God in your heart, the love of God overflows. So it will always give you more for each one of the children that you have to deal with. So you just have to lean on God and trust in him to renew your strength, to give you that patience, to give you that love. Like I said earlier, when you are full of the love of God, you never get tired.
Exactly.
Never get tired.
But Yejina, Maman Sandrine, you had a calling. So you kind of knew that, okay, I'm going to be preaching.
Not really.
You didn't, you were in church,
debating.
you were still debating, and then, so it was easier for you to kind of flow into marrying a pastor, or maybe not.
What I tried to say earlier is like you need to understand your purpose.
Okay.
And when I mean about your purpose, it's because when you do what you've been called to do, the reason why you're here on earth, that thing will, if you understand, for me, the advice, even for those who are not married yet, you know, and are trying to figure out if they want to marry a man of God or not, you need to understand, first of all, why you're here. Because if you understand why you're here, you feel and believe that you're here to serve people, then it's going to be much easier for you. Like me, when I say calling before, it's not like I saw myself preaching, but I saw myself serving God in different areas of the church.
Okay, I see.
know, I was just a servant, but I was all over the place. Like if you needed something, you can count on me.
Okay.
I didn't have any title. I was just loving God and serving.
And serving God, and it came.
Exactly.
So it was bringing me to the question I was trying to ask Yejina, is like, how do you, you came to church, you're like, oh, I'm going to be praying, you know, but were you expecting that in the years after you were going to be whenever you came to church?
I didn't come to church expecting that my husband would become a pastor, but I already knew that he has that calling. But by the time I came to church, it was more for my own soul. I was looking for something. I was looking for peace. I was not expecting. I was looking for healing. I was not expecting to become even married and become a pastor's wife.
Yes.
So everything came together at once.
Like the way God always done it.
Yes,
And I'm sure God has a funny way of dragging people to church, and then surprise, your husband's gonna be a pastor, that kind of stuff, right? So, but before we go into I understand the calling and I understand where you guys are all coming from, but for some reason, I feel as if a lot of pastors' wives are so overlooked, are so underrated, are so, I would say, ignored. It's as if once there's the pastor, we're all focused on the pastor. And then there's her, pretty much. You know, that's kind of how this, no, because this is how people make it, this is kind of how you see in most churches. So like, yes, my pastor, you know, my this, you know, and then, yeah, my pastor's wife. You know what I mean? So how do you guys feel whenever you get that kind of look, introduction? Not even you, but how do you think those other pastors' wives feel out there in the world? The things that we see, the way people come at them, the way people treat them. But before we answer this question, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. I am sitting here with four, I can't count today, including myself, wonderful pastors' wives who are going to talk to us about what it means to have the position that they have. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are still here in season 3 with Grace. Of course, that's me. And then with les Maman Pasteur that I'm talking to. We have Maman Sandrine, Pastor Nike, Yejina, Mama Eliane. But before we went on a break, I asked them a question. I said, society have a tendency of looking past, not down, but looking past the pastor's wife. It's like, there's my pastor, and then there's his wife. There's my pastor, and then, or there's just people who just simply, I've heard of people who just ignore pastors' wives. Like in your own feelings, or not even your own feelings, like say, generally, how will you describe those type of interaction with these type of people? And I'll start with you, Mama Sunday. How do you feel about those type of people? Like, how does that make you feel?
To tell you the truth, if I have to pay attention to what everybody thinks about me, I will not go anywhere in life. You know, it's not even about the fact that I'm a pastor's wife. Just because I'm a human being, people, they're gonna have their own opinion of who I am, but I know who I am. You know, and it really doesn't bother me.
Right.
It really doesn't bother me because I listen to people who I know who loves me. Even those who don't love me, you know, I try to see balance, what is going to be helpful and what is going to destroy my soul, because I have also to protect myself.
Exactly.
You know, it's very important.
I like that. Protect yourself.
Yeah.
Is it okay for you guys to protect yourself? Meaning that you know this is negative. You know that even what we hear out there is negative. Is it okay, Marilyn, to put a shield and just protect yourself?
I believe you can always put a shield. It's not like it's a bad thing to have a shield on, but I believe that putting the shield doesn't mean that you are scared.
Exactly.
It means mostly like you don't pay attention to all around you. When Jesus was here on this earth, some people didn't like him and some people love him.
Right.
So it didn't change the fact that it was Jesus.
Exactly.
And I believe like that there's no way on this earth that everybody will love
It's just gonna love you. Okay.
You just have to be yourself. You don't have to become somebody for people. Like if I want to come back to one of your earlier question earlier, when you said that as a pastor wife, people tend to lean toward your husband and ignore you. I believe that you don't have to preach to be called a pastor wife. I believe that even hugging people, even opening your house to people, which is something that is very delicate.
Exactly.
If you do that as a pastor wife, you are doing the work of God.
As well, okay.
It's not using the microphone all the time, meaning that you are a pastor wife. A pastor wife can show love, can show attention in different ways. So we are human beings. Sometimes people will love you and sometimes they will not.
Just like we do in the
Just
regular
live
world.
with it and breathe and move on.
That's it.
That's
Just
it.
like we do in the regular world. And this is how you guys feel. And this is how I'm sure there's other women out there who feels the same way.
Exactly.
But I feel as if there's so much judgment placed on, especially Christianity and having your roles, right? People feel as if that, you know, a lot of times, they think that, oh, well, you're not, you know, they feel as if like the offering is what feeds you guys. As if you woke up in the morning, you're like, I'm just going to be a pastor's wife and that's it. Like nothing else, get my nails done. Have you guys seen those memes where they show shoes? It's like pastor's shoes, pastor's wife shoes. It's like high stilettos. And then it's the congregation. Can you? Yes. And I see those memes on Facebook, right? So people have a tendency of thinking as if, this is all you guys do. You just sit there, dress well, look nice, and as if you have no ambitions or no. How do you explain that, person? Because I know that you have a business that you built where you make some amazing waffles, and you do so much more. Can you explain to people that there's more to than just those high stilettos that they think you guys wear all the time?
I'm just surprised that they show heels.
They do. They show those really high, expensive
Really?
stilettos.
I know about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like Mama said earlier, you can't control what people think. I think what's difficult is the balance between the boundaries that we have to put to protect ourselves and kind of show a little bit who we are as well. Because sometimes people will put an image on you because they don't know.
Okay.
So that could be out of ignorance because they don't know that we are, you know, a pastor's wife is not your identity.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's more to you, you know. So I think maybe if we can have the balance between having boundaries for ourselves as women, but also open up a part of us so that people can actually see that there is more to us than those heels that they show online.
Did you give up on your dreams?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I did not give up on my dreams, but I understood that God works in seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are certain things that I knew I had to put a hold on or wait until there was a better time for me to actually work on them.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I did not give up on them. It's just that you have to understand seasons. As women, we give birth. We have different things that we have to go through. So I had to somehow pause certain things, but
And
not
then-
completely. No,
Okay. So in that life step, okay, Mamilia and Mamilia, so Pastor like I said, you have to kind of pause. It's as if like, okay, he's starting a ministry or he's starting the church or there's church, but I want to go back to school or there's church, but I need to make sure that my kids, I'm at my kids' soccer games on Wednesday, Bible study, okay? But then there's church, I'm starting my own business, or there's church, I want to do this. And how did you try to break it in without being like, oh, well, the first lady wasn't at church today, where is she?
Je dirais que, permets que je change un peu, je parle en français, mais je dirais en fait que on doit faire la différence. Qui est-ce que nous voulons, à qui est-ce que nous voulons faire plaisir? Je ne pars pas à l'église parce que je veux faire plaisir aux membres de l'église. Je pars à l'église pour honorer Dieu.
Amen.
Et Dieu me connaît, n'est-ce pas? Donc si je ne pars pas à l'église aujourd'hui et que Dieu sait que c'est par rapport à quelque chose de très important, je n'ai pas de compte à rendre à quelqu'un par rapport à ça. C'est-à-dire, j'ai une priorité, c'est ma relation personnelle avec Dieu. Si je ne pars pas à l'église, Dieu sait pourquoi je ne pars pas à l'église. Si je suis absente, il sait pourquoi. Donc, personnellement, je ne pense pas que j'ai de compte à rendre, mais je fais tout pour avoir cette... be clear.
With what your goals are,
Yeah.
ce que tu veux faire, and what you want to do. So this will bring me to the side of family. I read somewhere online that said that some of the loneliest women are women who are married to people of high power. And when they list those people of high power, they put pastors' wives. Because you're sharing your home, your intimacy, your husband with the congregation. How does that affect you? How does that affect your children? How does that even affect what you thought marriage was?
It's an interesting question.
Because a lot of us, let me take clear, when we think about marriage, my husband comes home every day at 5 p.m. We cook, we eat, we have dinner, we talk about kids, and we go to sleep. But in the jobs that your husbands have, the phone rings anytime. And sometimes just like, I just want to talk to you real quick, but then somebody's dying here. You know what I mean? So how do you guys, whenever you were sitting down and managing your perfect family, how do you deal with that? Because they say that you guys end up being lonely. So you you pay attention more on your kids, or you build something in your home, or what do you do to stay away from that quote unquote loneliness that they say that pastors' wives have? Or have you even experienced that? Or are you the one that have to, as a woman, place the balance in your home? If that question even makes more sense when I say it that way.
It does make sense. I think I'll say for me is the key word is balance.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's very difficult to do. It sounds easy, but it's difficult. Is the balance between understanding the calling of not only yourself but the husband that you marry. Also understanding the importance of family, because I clearly put family before ministry.
Okay.
So I put God, family, and ministry.
Okay.
It took me a while to understand that, but that's really how it's supposed to be. But it's a balance.
Okay.
Again, it's a balance. So at the same time, you are releasing your husband to be available, but at the same time, you're balancing to make sure that he understands he has to be home. So, and I think women are exceptional because I think we can do that. Yeah. So
can it be
any
frustrating sometimes?
Absolutely.
Yes,
we can.
Is
Absolutely.
it stressful?
Yes, it
Is it
Of
like
course, of course.
can we have your attention, please?
Oh,
Do you
of
have
course.
those moments as well?
Of course.
Mama Sandrine, do you have those moments? Is that like, we need you here too?
Yeah, and I'll go with what she said, just to add to what she just said, it's balance. The key word is really balance. And I think after so many years in the marriage, we are learning, we are bettering ourselves, the relationship, understanding that we need each other's, and we need our children to live in healthy environment. And because of that, you know, we set those boundaries. You know, it's not only me, because sometimes, you know, it's not only the man of God, because me too, as the mom, you know, mom of my biological children, mom of the church, you know, I can go on and on and on and on and on, and by the end of the day, I come back home, I'm just out of business, you know. And I think the balance needs to come from both sides.
So if you have like 1 million the kids, right? Let's say, okay, Ethan is really has a soccer game where he wasn't feeling well, but you're called to go pray for a member who's in the church, and it's just it's not going well. You see what I'm trying to say? So you have to leave your kids. You have to grab your husband. We got to go because it's an urgency. And these happen constantly. When do you put a pause and say, okay, we need to focus on our family first? When do you say, let's move this towards, when do you say, let's send somebody else? Does that ever happen?
You know, it's not only, I would just add something. It's not only something that is happening to pastor's wife. This is something that can happen to anybody else.
Any regular couple.
Any regular couple. We are pastor wife, but we are also have our mothers. You know, we have our own children, our own family. And I believe that if you have a situation where you have to, you know that it's recurrent, like you have to keep on going, praying for people. At a certain point, you're going to have to delegate. Because I don't think God wants you to always put your family aside and go out there to help everybody. You know, you always have to delegate. If I want to take, for example, in the nursing field, we have nurses and we have people underneath. So when you're so busy, there are some activities that you cannot do. So you're going to have to call maybe the LPN, or you're going to have to call the tech to go ahead and take care of what you cannot do, what is less urgent versus what is more urgent. So what I'm saying by that is not talking about hospital here, but what I'm trying to say here is, as a pastor wife or as a pastor, you know, what you have to do, you have to balance between family and church. So, you know, you have to balance between family and church. But when the priority comes, you have to take care of your family. You have to be there for your family. And then you can delegate someone in the group, like another pastor or somebody else, do the task.
And this work comes from you guys. Because pastors are given hearts of shepherd. They have to help everybody. They're heroes. They have to be there for everybody. But then here you come, it's like, hey, we need you here today. We have to do this. There's a soccer game. There's a thing. But then people, the crowd, congregations, the world looks at you like, well, they don't want to help us. Or it's because of his wife that he didn't come and pray for us. Or it's because of, whenever those starts to come about, do you feel as if you have no choice?
I think God's people need to be taught that at the end of the day, it's Jesus. And not the man.
Exactly.
So if, as a pastor, you have to teach that to people. It's not, actually doesn't even help them if you always
there for them. Okay.
Because you're letting them know that you're Jesus.
Okay.
And as a human being, you will fail them.
That's
That will happen.
Always.
It's not a matter of if, it's when.
Okay.
You will fail because you're a human being, you have limitations. So our job as leaders is always to direct people towards Christ. Always. Always.
I like that part where you said they're human beings. And this will bring me to my question, but we're going to take a quick break. People do not give even pastors a break in society. These people are crucified harder than Christ. This is just my belief. Yes, there's a lot of things that can happen. Yes, there's a lot of things that happens in the world. We see it all over the internet, what's being portrayed of being a pastor. But how should a woman feel sitting on your shoes and you see how they're patronizing, crucifying some of these pastors out there in the world? Put yourself on that pastor's wife's shoe. How are they sitting there watching people demonize their husbands? calling them this, insulting, all type of. When those people come home, how are their reactions? Do you understand? Like how does that feel to be so crucified by the world? They don't have the right to sin at all. Like they don't even have the right to throw gum in the street. Okay, that's just a no-no. I like the fact that you said they're human. But we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages. Hope you guys are enjoying these conversations. We'll be back. So guys, because of time, we have to stop at this part 1, but there will be a part 2. I'm only allowed a little bit of time to have my show, so we'll come back with the second part where these ladies go a little bit deeper about what it means to be in their shoes and what it means to have those type of people around them. But we're gonna stop here. Make sure you wait until the next 2 weeks. Part 2 will be coming out of In Between Season 3. See you guys there.